Chapter 16. Dark Days Begin. First dark day of Cantle, 819. 29 days until Sown. It's well past first light, and I have no idea where I am. The night's moisture is dripping from the crude lean-to. Several druids are rushing back and forth on their errands. What happened? I hear unhurried footsteps getting closer. "Ah, you are awake?" a middle-aged druid asks. "Sorry our hospitality is so poor, but we have been chasing the Black Mage's men across these hills for the last half-month." The man is familiar, but I can't place him. I scrunch my eyes and blink a few times in an effort to wake up my mind. "You are still at Men Murkov Key," he says. "What do you remember from last night?" "I remember the men approaching on horseback and my calling of the storm. It was the Black Mage and his men. I called down lightning. Then I remember being made to drink some misconcocted brew." The old druid chuckles. "You will no doubt recover your wits with a little more rest. The magic you summoned was as impressive as I have ever seen." I nod at the compliment. "It was a reckless thing to do." His countenance grows stern. "On any normal night, it would have consumed you." "I didn't have time to consider the implications." "Raise your arms for me." I try, but more than a hand's width from my body, they tremble violently. "You have been completely drained. You won't be able to summon any power for quite a few days. And if you have any sense, you will wait a month or more to fully recover your vitality." I lower my arms and try to think how I will complete my quest now. If I had an orchid, I remember holding a ghost orchid last night. Was that real or a delusion? "I don't mean to scold," he says more kindly. "I have no doubt now that this place was the Black Mage's ultimate goal all along. His men were used to draw us away on diversions. We were fortunate that you were here when he approached." Despite his kind words, I struggle to keep my eyes open. He pats me on the shoulder as he rises. "Rest a while longer, and we'll talk when you have regained your strength. I will ask Gisela to watch you in the meantime." He starts to rise. "And I will keep Arthmael focused on other duties." "Thank you, Master. Have we met before?" "I am Sinbel, the leader of the Plains Druids." A flash of panic hits me. The protector of Men Murkov Key, a member of the Nine. I try to rise up at least to my elbows. He gestures me to stop. "No need for all of that. Rest up, and we'll speak again after you eat." Eat? My stomach starts pitching and rolling at the thought. He gives me an amicable smile before leaving. I sit up and wait for my head to stop spinning. I feel around for my pack, but it's not here. Where is the orchid? I jerk my head this way and that. "Where's my pack?" I call out, trying to keep the fear out of my voice. "It's here, Grammy," Gisela says from behind the lean-to. "Now relax and let your mind and body recover." I crane my neck to see from where the voice is coming, just in time to see my leather pouch come flying over. It lands with a thud, barely within reach. I stretch along the ground, grab it, and pull it close to me. No one can see what I'm doing, so I take inventory of my sole possession. Relieved, I toss my bag behind me and lie back down. Gisela rounds the shelter. "Wake up, Grammy," she calls out much louder than needed. She is even more beautiful than I remember. "Arthmael is beside himself because of you," she says with a wicked giggle. "Why? What did I do?" "You criticised his restorative, correctly, I might add. and gave a better recipe before falling into unconsciousness. I vaguely remember drinking something last night, I say, exhausted. You need to get the blood moving if you want to heal. Take my hands. She pulls me up and practically carries me to a small cooking fire. She ladles a herb and mushroom soup into a wooden bowl and hands it to me. She sits down next to me and I catch a whiff of lavender. I subtly straighten my moustache. I'm simultaneously relieved and appalled that she doesn't notice. Her eyes are glued on the magnificent stone circle instead. Arthmael has floundered ever since Sizel went missing, she says. He desperately wants to be a herbalist, and she was the only one with that kind of knowledge here on the plains. Now she's dead, and Arthmael has no one to teach him. I studied under a master herbalist for a time. Perhaps I can help him. Gisela snorts. He's been muttering all night about how his next potion for you will have hemlock in it. I should apologize. You should stay clear of him if you want to keep your teeth. I'm just glad the Obsidian Lord is dead. The silence stretches out, uncomfortably so. Why do you say that? Gisela asks in a neutral voice. When I summoned the storm, he stood there, all alone on his horse, staring at me. I called down lightning and killed him. There were 2 people killed last night, but Sizel was the only one killed by lightning. There was a rider who broke his neck when his horse threw him. What? I saw the dirt under him fly every which way. There is no way he could have survived that. Lord Simbel seizes at the fire and heads back over to us. Grami, it's good to see you up and about, he says, as he takes a seat on the opposite side of the fire from us. I only have a few moments before I'm off again. I hold the bowl with both hands and slowly sip my soup. I struggle to keep even this down. There is something he wishes to say to me, but he doesn't know how. You are a bit of a mystery, Grami, Simbel says at last. You wear the white of a druid, yet I am the caller of the 9, and I have never called your name to join the ranks of the druids. So you must be on your druid quest. However, you appear to be rather old to be questing. What am I to make of you? I have not had the straightest of paths. I cough uncomfortably. I was a student of both Masters Gwalathur and Arthayan, but I have finished my studies with Lord Boswin. As you surmised, it has taken longer than normal for me to get to this place. Simbel nods, as if I confirmed what he already knew. So, tell me of your quest. I set the bowl down and lower my gaze to the base of the fire. I am unable to speak of it. Simbel and Gisela exchange surprised glances. Lord, I do not wish to sound impertinent, but how is it that none of your people were here for the conjunction of the full moon and the equinox? Indeed, it was. In any normal year, we would have been here honouring the gods and goddesses in grand fashion. However, the Black Mage has been sending multiple raiding parties into the plains for days now. They have been looting and burning whatever unlucky homesteads they find, and then fleeing before we can engage them. In fact, it was your storm that finally quenched the last of the fires. Gisela squeezes my hand again. We managed to save a family of 4 because of the rain you caused. She leans in close and rests her head on my shoulder. I can smell lavender again as she gets close. I'm glad I was able to do some good. So, tell us about last night, Simbel asks. I saw them coming up the grassy path to the giant's choir. 1 or more gods interceded, and I was compelled to bar them from the entrance within the circle. The gods speak directly to you, do they? Gisela asks curtly. I ignore her. The soldiers drew their bows, but approached too cautiously. That allowed me to call the storm before they were within range. One of their number dismounted and started counter-chanting me. I looked directly at Simbel. I had no other way to stop her, so I called down a... I understand, Grami, he says, his voice full of remorse. You had no other choice. Sisal was a strong-willed woman. No doubt somewhere in her mind she screamed in horror at what she was being forced to do. Your action gave her a release. My hands start to shake. Even as Simbel gives me absolution, the immensity of what I've done is made clear. I tried to honor her. I straightened her body and prayed for her soul's safe journey. Tears well up in my eyes, and my breath becomes haggard. You have to pull yourself together. She was the first person you have had to kill? Simbel asks. I think of the limping man. He entered my mind so easily. I glance at Gisela and feel the shame from when the memory of us was inspected by him. I clench and release my fist. How can I possibly explain? Do you know why the Black Mage brought Sisal to the Giant's Choir? I do not. Gisela pats my knee. It's fine, Grami. You are among friends. I do not know. A wave of emotion rolls over me, and I'm unable to say more. My eyes plead with Simbel to take this guilt away from me, but I realize no one can grant me absolution. It's all right, Simbel says. We have located the Black Mage's men. Soon we will overtake and capture them. Perhaps we'll get something out of them. What of the Dark One? I ask. There's been no sign of him, though I have sent out scouts. I smile inside. Perhaps I did kill him. Gisela rubs my knee affectionately. Judok said he saw you take something from Sisal, something small. Is it in your pouch? Show us what you have. I try to stand up and regret it immediately. My head is swimming, but I don't ask for any help. I can say nothing further. I'll see what's in it for myself then. Gisela's voice turns hard. She stands and faces me. Her eyes follow mine toward my pack. Are we going to race for it? Even if I won, I couldn't stop her from taking it from me. Gisela, sit down, Simbel says, calmly. But it is an undeniable command. This is not how we show hospitality to one of our own. I'm sorry, Lord, she says tightly. I must see to a personal matter. Her nose flares, and I am certain that our discussion will be revisited. Simbel smiles ruefully at me. So far, Grami, Judok has accused you of theft and wants to challenge you to a duel. Arthmael hints of attempting to poison you. Gisela feels embarrassed, and you refuse to answer my questions. If I didn't already know that Boswin was your mentor, I would surely have guessed it by now. Angering people is a speciality of mine. I dump out the remaining cold soup. I've eaten as much as I can. There is nothing that can't be fixed, he reassures me. We have granted you our hospitality, so none of my people will open your pouch. On that, you have my word. Thank you, Lord Simbel. I know that Boswin can be difficult, even at the best of times. The man is never truly happy unless he's being unnecessarily cryptic, he complains. Only he would command you to keep your questing secret. I would ask this of you. Would he want you to withhold your information from me and my men, with the situation being what it is now? The Black Mage has never dared to send men this far north, much less come this far himself. nor has he ever attempted to come so far himself. I am not just a fellow Druid, but the protector of this holy place. Would Boswin want one of the 9, his peer, to fight this battle blindly? I know you have been compelled to silence, but Boswin is not aware of all that has happened since. So, it is now in your hands. Will you support your fellow Druids, or will you let us flounder? My body feels cold and gutted, like a fish. I was sent to retrieve a stupid flower. I was never meant to be in the middle of a power struggle. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. I'm desperate for a solution, but it's like grabbing at smoke. I hang my head to avert his gaze. I'm sorry, Lord Simbel. I made a vow. Simbel exhales as he stands. I can tarry no longer. My men and I are leaving to capture the riders from last night. But consider this. We will interrogate them closely. Is there anything you wish to say before we hear from them? No, Lord. I pray that you have been acting in good faith with me.